And the main thought that I shared on that with Ben Lieber and Corey Cove on Vikings fan line after the game on KFan was, and I shared the same thought offensively, shared the same thought with PA on the 9 to noon show on KFan this Monday. But everybody, and rightfully so, wanted to praise and acknowledge what Teddy did. Having a phenomenal game, like I said, like 17 to 20, so approximately for completions, 4 touchdowns through the air, 1 on his legs, no interceptions. For only the second quarterback in Vikings history to throw for 4 touchdowns in a game and rush for a touchdown. The only time that's ever happened, by Fran Tarkington in the very first game ever that the Vikings played in 1961 against the Bears. So it's a Bears thing. But yeah, hard to believe Culpepper never even threw for 4 and ran for 1 in a game. Randall Cunningham never threw for 4 and ran for 1. Tommy Kramer, Wade Wilson, Sean Sapp, Warren Moon, Jeff Jordan, Brooks Bollinger, Tarvarius Jackson, Gus Farrar. Man, we've had a lot of good quarterbacks here. Sage Rosenfeld. So yeah, amazing. But back to the point, what I was talking about. With everything that Teddy did just right, super efficient was the main takeaway from him. He was just super efficient. Unsung heroes offensively, the O-line. I mean, he Bears hardly got to him even pressure-wise at all the entire day. So the O-line, but primarily Norv Turner. Give Norv Turner. He was your unsung offensive hero from last week's game. His play calling was phenomenal. A great balance of run and pass. No unnecessary trick gimmick plays. However, he still spiced in a little bit of creativity here and there when it was necessary, not just for the sake of doing it. He really took out most of the deep drop passes. You're seeing more short step drops where Teddy can just get the ball out of his hand to his one read or his second read, and that's it. And we're getting the yards after the catch, which is what I said weeks ago. This is what we need to do. These are our strengths. Just play call to our strengths. Too often in our losses, we're not play calling to our strengths. And then incorporating more of those bootleg play action rollouts where Teddy can run outside of the pocket, has the option to throw the ball away or take off running, or continue to look to throw the ball downfield. So, and then still taking a deep shot every once in a while when the defense is not staying honest and giving you a deep shot. You have to take, and that's the big thing. Norv and Teddy both humbling themselves and getting smarter as well, but I believe it's more of an attitude, more of a pride thing. Humbling themselves to simply take what the defense is there, what the defense is giving them. Recognizing, okay, we can all make any play that needs to happen, but it's got to be there. We can't really force any play to happen. We can't make a play that's not there. Teddy's not that good yet where he can make plays that aren't really there. But Teddy's good enough to take whatever the defense is giving you. And if that's, hey, we got one-on-one with no safety help deep on the outside to Wallace here, it's second down, yeah, that's then audible that at the line and throw that route, So, unsung hero offensively, because he set up the offensive line to not have to block for too long, still let him, run to and hammer, not making Teddy have to drop way back, go through a bunch of long progressions, let the plays develop, things like that. Play calling from Norv Turner set up Teddy and the O-line and everyone on that offense to be successful last week. And just about everybody on the offense did turn in a good, productive, efficient game. And that is a big part of the coaching. Preparing them properly and then setting them up to succeed properly, putting them in the right places, making it as easy as possible for them to make the plays. Now, Ben Lieber on KFan, in typical Ben Lieber fashion, basically disagrees with me every time I've ever talked to that moron. I shouldn't call him a moron. He's not a moron. He's actually a really great guy. But football intelligence-wise, Ben is everything that I don't like about all the former athletes who become analysts or commentators. Just so biased. Coaching never means anything. Front office never means anything. The only people that should ever get credit are the players for making the plays. That's Ben Lieber's basic attitude, always. And that's kind of how he responded when we were talking about it on the show. And it's typical. He's your stereotypical former player in those regards. Because watch them, they're all like that. It's always about, look at this player making this play. This happened because this player made this play. Nothing ever comes down to coaching. And in all reality, you're just a pawn. Ben Lieber and all the other players. You're the pawns, you're the rooks, you're the bishops, you're the knights, you're the king, you're the queen. But that's what you are. You're not the mind. You're not the player. You're not the real player. Football is chess, okay? Just played with real live human pieces. Okay? That's what you need to understand. Football is chess. So you think the credit should always go to the chess pieces? No. The credit should... You should usually look to the guy who's moving the chess pieces, telling them where to go and what to do. A little more influential than the actual piece. So, that was the offensive unsung hero, Norv Turner. As long... And I told PA this then on Monday, as well. As long as the Vikings are, as long as we can have a healthy Vikings team getting good play calling, I'm not worried about nothing. This team can beat anybody, any week, any place, any round of the playoffs, any team. It don't matter. Healthy Vikings with good play calling. You're going to win. You're going to go a long ways. I'd say NFC Championship game, maybe even Super Bowl. I don't think they will win the Super Bowl this year. But I could see them making it to the Super Bowl this year. I really could. But like I said, it's going to require two things. Health and play calling, coaching. Both sides of the ball. We get those two things, we're as good as anybody. And that's the truth. Now, the defensive unsung hero, which I also brought up with PA and Lieber and Corey, and Corey Cove, he's usually the mind of reason there that always, actually understands my point and then can kind of go, no, I kind of agree with this guy, and then explain it to Ben, dumb it down to Ben, where Ben still then at least gets the point but won't acknowledge it because it's not his. So yeah, Merry Christmas, Ben Liebers. I've been ripping Lieber a ton this episode. It is what it is. I like I said, he's a great guy. I don't respect his football mind a whole lot. But Merry Christmas, Mr. Lieber. Anyway, but the unsung hero on defense last week and this entire year is GM Rick Spielman. I'm sitting here watching guys like Tom Johnson, guys like third-round pick Danielle Hunter, guys like seventh-round pick Edmund Robinson, undrafted free agents like Anthony Harris, old cheap veteran free agents like Terrence Newman. I'm watching all these guys, Treteau, especially primarily on defense, that are mid to late round draft picks, low-level free agency signings, and they're just freaking killing it for us. Who's responsible for that? I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. Those individuals deserve a fair amount of credit. The coaches for coaching them up, training them, deserve some credit. Absolutely. But who's the person who can look at, whose job it is to look through thousands and thousands of football players and go, this guy has what it takes to be productive for us, and this guy and these guys don't? That's Spielman's job. And if you look at the defensive depth on this team, it is astounding. It's astounding how good this defense is on its second and third strings. Absolutely amazing. And like I said, you give those individuals credit for playing. You give the coaches credit for training and teaching. But none of that would be happening in the first place if there wasn't this mind and this eye with the vision and the intelligence to assess this all correctly and put it all together, to bring it all together. And that's GM Rick Spielman. So Rick Spielman, your defensive unsung hero of the last week for the Vikings. Again, offensively, it was OC Norv Turner. Let's go over our film real quick for the Vikings and keep moving on. All right, so the refs were not very good. They had one really terrible call where it was in the third quarter that I had to circle. It cost the Vikings a little bit, but it was second down. Bears jump off sides. All the Vikings just kind of stop, and Teddy nonchalantly hands the ball off as it was a run play, and everybody just stand there looking around, waiting for the flag and the whistle to blow, and there wasn't one. And it ended up being like a 3-4 yard loss. And I'm just like, what? How did you miss that offsides? The whole entire team, everybody saw that offsides except for who's ever ref. It is his job to throw the flag on that, but refs were not very good. They weren't as bad as they were in the Cardinals game, believe it or not. Refs in the Cardinals game were a -10. Here last week they were only a -4, -5. But yeah, so refs not good, but better than last week. Special teams, one of the only downsides last week. Your special teams, as far as just like the coverage and return and stuff like that, overall was a -3. Walsh was a +6, and Locke was an even 1/1. So your special teams total. Oh, and then special teams, Thielen got a plus. Sherrills and Patterson were non-factors. So your total special teams, all in all, it was a +5. But that's mainly from Walsh's +6. I mean, if you take out Walsh's +6, the special teams coverage and return, the punter, and all the return guys, they were a -1 overall. So special teams did not play particularly well, with the exception of Blair Walsh, which, I'll take that. That's okay. One of the few down spots in last week's game, like I said, we're going over the film quick here. Coaching was fantastic. Zimmer got a +3.9/6. Norv Turner got a +8, 10/2. Only 2 decisions, play calls, what have you. 2 things on Norv Turner's end that I put a minus for. By far, his best performance, from that standpoint all year, the least amount of negatives I've ever seen. I've never graded out a perfect coaching game for anyone before. No one's ever got all pluses for a coaching grade out for me. So to come close, to almost have a perfect game where you have no minuses, again, that's I know what I'm talking about. And the Norv Turner unsung hero, that was my take before I watched the film. Just everything I watched live in person, and then using my own football mind to analyze the information. Then when I watch the film and grade it out, and I look at it, it actually correlates. They support each other. So yeah, 10 for 2 Norv Turner. Overall, coaches then, if you combine Zimmer and Norv, 19/8 +11. So +11 in the coaching department, that's great. Quarterback performance, Teddy Bridgewater. I gave him 14 pluses. I want to say one of those even was an incompletion. Like, I grade better than most people know how to grade film, okay? Teddy got a 14/4. Only 4 minuses from Teddy is one of the most impressive things on this. The other thing is that of Teddy's 14 pluses, 1, 2, 3,